Well, hi everybody, and here we are live with we're from Pete Dassey's garage. Hi, Pete.
Hello.
And I've not got a garage, so I've rented one for the afternoon. I've gone up to Steve's garage so that I can hang out in his garage. But yours looks very nice. Your pictures in the background. Let's have a look. Let's see what can you tell us about the pictures that you've got behind you. I see you've got one straight ahead. Is that one of you and Brendan?
Yeah, above my head. Yeah.
Yeah. And on the other side.
The orange one or the
the orange one.
Those I received from people that are supporters of Brendan.
Yeah.
So I thought I'd put them up in the background to show Brendan that how much I feel about him, and actually the supporters that send me the pictures how I feel about them.
Yes. Yeah. I think it struck me the contrast between Making a Murderer Series 1 when you got Barb and Dolores reading out really, really nasty letters that they'd received from people, and the contrast in Series 2 when you're getting all these letters and cards and stuff of support, and people sending huge items in the post. So that one says never give up. What's the one on the other side? Does it say I love?
Yeah, that's when Brendan was younger. I'd have to take a look at it again. I love Brendan.
Yeah,
that's when he was younger, and that's like for the support behind the supporters from him.
Yep, excellent. And I'm right in saying that you are in your garage.
Yeah. Is that another word for man cave?
Yes, definitely. Yes. A shed.
Yes, I'm in my
man cave, man shed. Yeah.
I'm in my man cave. My stereo and everything's over here. So.
Yeah. I tell a lie. I have got two sheds, which are completely cluttered up, and I do have a garage. Sorry, but it's completely full of musical gear and empty boxes for musical gear. So there's no way I could go in there. So as I say, I've nipped over to the Avery Salvage Yard and popped inside the garage, Steve's garage, because it's quite handy here. Now then, how many of these videos have we done so far, Pete? Have you been keeping account?
I don't know. I would say probably around 4, if not 4.
Well,
3 or 4 or something like that.
Yeah, this is the 5th one.
Am I pretty close?
Yeah, 5th one. Yeah. So I've had a lot of messages recently this last week from various people, including Charlie Berens.
Yeah, I heard of him.
Yeah, I heard. Yeah, and Aaron Rodgers.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and Mike Holbach.
Yeah.
And they've said they've all of them. They've been in touch and they've said, look, since you started doing these live videos with Pete Dassey, one a week, the Packers have won every single time. Every single week, Packers have won. They've all said, you've got to keep going because you're helping us win. Mike Holbach, he's a video analyst, so he's analyzed our videos and realized that because we do a live video each week, the Packers keep winning.
Okay, well,
okay.
That sounds pretty cool.
Well, yeah, it is, So it's funny how these people out there they notice these things, So let's just say hi to the people in the chat here. Let's start from the top because we've got a load of people in here to say hello to. Julie Ferrato, Becca Nash is here. JD, Miss Brummy. I wonder if that's somebody from the West Midlands here in the UK. Dark Side of the Moon, Jazz Naz. Yes. Julie put Ericozy time. Well, yes, I actually put it down originally for 1:30. And then Pete said, let's have just a quick chat before we start. And so I set it for 5:30. But I do, realize we were a few minutes late getting going. So Dark Side, somebody called Addiction Mouse. Bean Green, Carl Mann, Maz, Gloria Ganetsky. I hope I pronounced that right. Glenetsky. Sure it is. Miss Bromley. Becca. Oh, Julius Sorkosh. I am absolutely murdering these names. I'm sure I am. Bean Green. Shane Henry. Hi. Mars. Sean Maloney. Hi, Sean. I think Sean. You've got like a nickname that's just to do with wizard. I'm pretty sure about that.
Computer
So I don't
wizard?
know. I don't know if that's a fan of Harry Potter stuff, but yeah, certainly, or maybe that group that had that big hit at Christmas time one year. And I'm afraid to say that the mad Ouija is here. Sharon is here. Oh, hi, Susan. And we've even got the mad Belgian Jerome is here.
Okay.
Do you know our mad Belgian Jerome?
I'm not sure.
No. All right. He's very, very,
So
very.
how many viewers you got altogether so far?
Well, yes, we've got. I think I've listed everybody that said hi in the chat.
Okay.
So what we've got is we've got people here who will chat. Hi, William, Gabriel McGrath. Hi there. I presume from Ireland. I did pronounce it right. Glenetsky. Perfect. So I think that's everybody. But yes, actually, viewers, there's a little sort of eye symbol in the corner, and it says 30. So.
Oh, okay.
It looks as if there's 30 people actually watching live at the moment.
Oh, is that in the right-hand side? I see. I see something, but I can't. The only thing I see really good is the live. We've been on 7 minutes already.
That's right. Let me just move this off the heater because I just want to very quickly just make sure everything is working as it should do. Which it appears to be. I just need to very quickly do something here with these.
Oh, and everybody in the chat, hi from Brendan's dad.
Well, yes. I've been rewatching as one tends to do. I've actually been rewatching the. Series 1 and Series 2, and we do see you a couple of times, and on occasion, we see you sat behind, of all people, Ken Kratz. I do feel sorry for anybody that has to sit downwind of Ken Kratz. That must have been quite a traumatic experience.
Yeah, you showed me that the other day. I'm going, oh yeah, that brings back memories when you threw that.
Yeah. I mean, have you ever spoken to the fella?
Have I ever talked to Ken Kratz?
Has he ever spoken to you?
No.
That's bizarre, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Anyway, you're probably the lucky one in that respect.
Oh yeah, definitely. I would have had a few choice words for him.
Well, yes.
You can't say it on here, but.
well, you can, but YouTube might close us down. They did that with one of my videos once. I was actually doing what you were doing, which was I was playing tracks, and I kept getting this message. If you keep going, we'll shut you down. If you keep going, and then a couple of minutes later, shut down. So yeah, they can be funny like that. Hey, we've got Lars Jacobson and there's a couple of names there that were new to me. Carla Black, hi Paul Ward, and as I say, Lars Jacobson or Jacobson. Sometimes I don't always know exactly how to pronounce. Anyway, photograph. I wanted you to tell me who are these people in this photograph. If I pop this up, I do that, and I think if it's this one here, and we go to that one there, let's enlarge it a little bit. I wonder if you could tell us who. We know this is Steve being released in 2003, but who are the two young girls?
Well, the one on the left is my ex-wife, Barbara, and the one on the right is my stepdaughter, Jennifer.
Excellent. And I mean, Bob looks so young there.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, how old would Barb have been back in 03?
I don't know.
So
I
that's
got to
like
figure it out.
17 years ago.
Yeah.
And we see quite a bit of Jennifer. She's got in series 1. She had a little baby. How's her and the baby doing?
Oh, pretty good.
Good. And
she has two, by the way.
Oh wow.
Yeah. They're older now. Coralia, actually, she's here with us today. She wanted to come over and drop over, and then she's got Miss M. She's by her dad right now. So.
Right. Excellent. I mean, I must admit, I am always somewhat, shall we say, jealous of anybody who has been married. And things have gone. People have gotten divorced, but yet they've stayed in touch and they've remained friendly. And I just wondered if maybe even to a certain extent, what happened to Brendan has kept you close friends with Barb.
Oh yeah, of course, yeah.
And it helps Brendan a lot, doesn't it, to see that his mum and dad are there caring about him.
Oh yeah, because I got a handful of people and saying that, gee, when I got a divorce, I didn't want anything to do with my ex at all and this and that. But when you have kids together, it's a different story.
Yeah. I say I didn't have the benefit of that with two ex-wives that didn't want me to have anything to do with them or with the kids, and it's it can be a bit tricky. And so I'm always amazed. I remember once, blimey, I went to a wedding, and as guests of the wedding, the woman that was getting married, her ex-husband was one of the guests at the wedding, and she was marrying this bloke, and his ex-wife was also one of the guests, and they were all close friends still, even though that they were they'd also moved on to other people, but again it was the kids that had caused this bonding, I suppose, that helped. Also, I think,
and then there's situations out there that that are totally different too. But I just seen it. I just look at it in my eyes. You had your time. It goes sour. You get a divorce. You look at what happened, and I take 50% of the. I take 50% of the fault. I mean, it's not all her. It's not all you. You got to work things out, and if you don't get that way, and you don't get there, you just can't work it out. Well, then you don't belong together anymore.
Yeah. I mean, I don't feel any animosity towards the two that don't want anything to do with me. I would have liked to have gotten to know the kids better, but wasn't really given that opportunity. And there was a little bit of deviousness about it, but one of the things that struck me is that we hear that quote by Brendan where he reads out the letter where he talks about the fact, he says, people of the world, please help me if you can. And he talks about the fact that, he was deceived by Fassbender, told he would, just tell them what they wanted to hear. In fact, he doesn't tell them anything they want to hear. They say what they want to hear, and he just agrees with it. He just goes, and nods or whatever. Yeah. and he talks about the fact that he's never had the chance to have a girlfriend, get a job, and have kids. I mean, hopefully he'll be out pretty soon, and he will have the opportunity to, have a girlfriend, to get married, have a job, and have kids. And what sort of dad do you think he'll be?
Oh, he's a lot like me, just a spitting image. Yeah, I know that would get you. I don't know. I could see him getting married, and I think he'd be a really nice dad.
Yeah, I think so as well. I think as well. There's that amazing picture of that scene Stephen Avery released, and he's holding the baby, who is quite happy, and he's quite used to holding. Like you see people, they're always nervous about handling, young babies, aren't they? I mean, at the time, that baby wasn't even a year old, and you tell that they don't have any sense of how to hold a baby. And yet Steve is just, quite happy in the arms. And the reporter says, "And who's this?" And he goes, "I haven't got an idea. I haven't got a clue. I have no idea who it is." Because he's only just come out. It was brilliant. And I really wanted to find out a little bit more of, I suppose, your thoughts, your observations on what Barb has been through, because as much as obviously as dad, it's been hard going. It's dare I say it, is it even harder for mum?
Yeah,
what's happened?
So. Yeah, I would think so. I know Brendan calls her periodically, and yeah, I think I don't know. In my own opinion, I think it would be hard for the mother. More harder on the mother than it is the dad. I mean, I'm not saying I'm not going through anything myself here, but I mean, I'm just saying I think their emotions are a little bit greater than the man's, if you can understand what I mean.
I can sympathize totally. A little bit like one of the things that I used to very rarely do. My wife used to have to do this all the time when my two were growing up. Even the simple things like when it's have to go into the school to meet the teachers, because I was often working. It was her that had to go in and talk to the teacher, meet the teachers, find out all that kind of stuff. And it tends to be the mums that do that sort of stuff, I suppose.
Yeah. I
mean, the one thing I would say is that I was never one of those dads that thought that when it came to things like changing nappies, that that's something that the women do. I mean, that was never one of. Are you any good at the old nappy changing?
Oh, you mean diapers?
Yeah.
Yeah, I did my share. Yeah, I remember those days. Yeah.
And also that when they wake up, in the middle of the night, and you've got to try and calm them down. And like the youngest one, from a very early age, she would just sleep all the way through the night. But the older one, she was a nightmare. I mean, she was climbing out of her cot by the time she was 10 months and waking us up. But she would wake up in the middle of the night, and the only way to get her to sleep was to actually walk up and down the corridor with her, outside, pacing for about an hour before she got settled down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I did my share. I did my share of nose holding too. So.
Yeah.
If you know what I mean.
My goodness, we've got Igor Kuchera from Slovakia sending greetings. Yeah, so I mean, this it's amazing the reach of as I say, the documentary. That people throughout the world are so shocked and appalled at what's happened, and I think I don't know. Maybe you can shed a bit of light on this, but I get the sense as well that because of the age difference between even Barb. I mean, we see in that picture Barb come into the jail. We know that when he, his alibi to the attack in '85 was the fact he went to the gravel pit with Barb in a four-wheeler, and they got stuck. They had to dig out. I get the sense that Barb and Steve are pretty close.
Oh, yes, they are.
Yeah, and so Barb's had this sort of double whammy of, she talks about it. In '85 they took my brother away from me. This time they've taken my brother and my son away from me.
Yeah.
I mean, without giving away any secrets. I mean, how does she cope with all this pressure?
I don't know. I guess it's very hard.
Yeah. You have to have a certain strength, I suppose, don't you?
Yeah, it's got to be very big.
Yeah. Changing the subject onto a much happier note. Susan has come up with a question, and she says, Paul, ask Pete, does he have a favourite bird? And now, I presume, Susan, you are talking about the feather variety, because yeah. Have you got a favourite bird? And she's put that I know he likes to feed them. So yes, we must be talking about the feather variety, Susan. Is that right?
Yeah.
So, do you have a favourite bird?
Yes. When I was growing up, when I was at home yet, I used to raise pigeons.
Right.
We used to, homing pigeons. Yeah, people would say, well, hey, look, how does that work? So I'd take a couple with me. I'd let them go out in the country, and then let them go and then get in my car and race back home. And I told the person that I was with at the time, I bet you they'll beat us there. Nah. Sure shit, we pulled in and there they were. But I would say pigeons, and then I went then my next on very top is martins, because I've been helping those guys out for, this has got to be about 15 years now.
Yeah.
Yeah, supplying houses for them and nesting material.
Yeah. Certainly over here in the UK, we get robins. I don't know. Do you get robins over there?
Yeah, we got robins. Yeah.
Yeah. I must admit, I've got a particular soft spot for, if we see a robin in the garden, it's nice to see them. We get some pigeons, some wood pigeons that come along. Were yours racing pigeons?
No, they were just regular, and then I had some fancy pigeons. They were called fantails.
All right.
And then I had some rollers. I had a pair of rollers. You let them go. They go about maybe 60 feet up, and then they would actually go like this. And then just before they came down, maybe about 30 feet before the ground, they'd come out of it. They were super cool. Yeah, they were super cool.
Wow. Yeah. Wow. So, my goodness,
at the time, my dad said, "You can have them, but you gotta make your own cage." And I threw one together. So.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, yes. I mean, we see some of the birdhouses that you built.
Yeah.
In Series 2. Yeah. There's been. Can you see the chat on the side? Does that come up? I don't think it does on the phone, does it?
No, if I got an option to press it on the bottom here, but I don't get it. But when you replay this on YouTube,
yes,
and I'm watching it back, I can hit the chat, and then I can see whoever was on here. Believe it or not.
There was a general question, which I'm going to sort of lump together.
Yeah, if it's not hard, I'll answer it.
Yeah. It's Carla Black asks, the local, the local opinion. I would say she's asking about the Manitowoc County Sheriff's Department in particular, and at the moment the current sheriff is, I believe, called Dan Hartwig.
Okay, yeah.
But the the three before him were in sort of chronological order. The one just before him was obviously Robert Herman. Then before that we had Kenneth Peterson. Before that we had Tom Kusurek. What do locals think of these three sheriffs?
I don't know. I don't really have anything to really do with them, but I don't know how they really are. But I mean, know.
I get the impression that if you are in certain social circles within Manitou, then they're probably held in quite high esteem. It's only the fact that Making a Murderer has shown what sort of shenanigans they get up to, that it's almost as if some people will sort of just switch off from any kind of negative criticism of them, and say, oh well, they're the sheriffs, they protect us, But no, I certainly had a lot of conversations with Sheriff Herman, and in the end he was he gave up taking calls because I was just getting too much of a pointing out far too much that he couldn't explain.
Oh, okay.
I mean, he once told me, he said, I know you're not going to believe this, but you do realize that not every search of Stephen's bedroom was for several hours. Some of them were just 10-minute sweeps. And I just said to him, Robert, I can tell by the tone in your voice, you are embarrassed to point that out, but you are just regurgitating the narrative that you've been advised to come up with, as if somehow it's plausible that you would have several hour long searches of a tiny room. I mean, even the bed in one of those bedrooms, it's not even a full size bed, is it? It's like a 3/4 size bed because you can't fit in a full size bed.
Yeah,
they're so small. They're so small. And there were three officers in that tiny room, literally on 3 occasions for 2 or 3 hours at a time. How do they not find a key if it was there? How do they not find a key?
I think they were blind in one eye and can't see out of the other. I don't know.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
There was also a question about anybody seeing the RAV4 near the turnaround. I mean, I personally have had a couple of people get in touch with me and say, I've actually I saw the RAV4 parked near this turnaround.
Did they say like 2 days?
Yeah, apparently there's at that part of the river there's a dam.
Yeah.
And kids used to go swimming there in the summer because it made like a pool for them to swim in.
I don't know. I know there's good fishing and everything.
Yeah. Okie dokie. Let's see what else have we got questions wise. T1. Yep, you're definitely keeping your banner. You'll definitely. Oh, missed it. Where'd it go? It all moved up.
I don't know. I just see the one that you just put on here now.
I just put Tom. The Kusurek is there's in Manitou you get a lot of Czech names and Slovakian names, don't you? I'm always reminded of the fact that we've got one of Brendan's attorneys, a really, really hard working fella, is that Robert Dvorak.
Oh yeah.
He was the one that flew all the way across America to slap a subpoena on Michael O'Kane to get all his videos, his stupid stuff that he put together. And of course, we've got Judy Dvorak, Judy de Verbiage. And of course, the surname Dvorak is very famous from the point of view of the composer Dvorak, who wrote the New World Symphony. And it was all about people from Eastern Europe going to America in the the late 1800s, early 1900s, in order to go to their new world. So this is the one I meant to click on. Sorry about that one. No, T1, you should definitely have a spanner. Pete, should T1 have a spanner?
Should what?
Should T1 have a spanner?
I didn't get the last part. You're kind of cutting out a little bit.
Yeah, well, the comment there is from T1 is, I should not have a spanner, and I'm saying he definitely should have a spanner. You'll agree with me, won't you?
Sure.
Thank you.
As long as I don't end up in the middle of an argument.
What it is, Pete, is in order to keep a track of that and to make sure that nobody comes in and starts to try and be offensive. People have been. I have clicked on a button and made them a moderator. And they, by their name in the chat, when you watch it on YouTube, you'll notice there's a little blue spanner by their name.
Yeah.
And it means that they can, if they need to, if somebody comes in and starts trying to be silly with their comments, they can mute that person, they can hide the message, they can delete it. They can actually, I don't know if they can actually remove them from the chat. I did that once. Somebody that came on, and I was very, very, very suspicious that this person was Ken Kratz. It just seemed very, very likely. Here's an interesting question from our Irish supporter. She's put simply, can I ask, Pete, your thoughts on Kathleen Zellner? Have you ever had the chance to meet Kathleen Zellner? Yeah. I wouldn't have thought you've had the chance to meet her, have you? Maybe Peter's frozen there. Let's see if he comes back. Yeah. Here we go. Here he goes.
What happened?
Yeah, I think you got frozen out. I think somebody with a spanner was messing about, but no, I'm only kidding. Okay. Any thoughts on? There's going to be a new documentary coming out called "Convicting a Murderer," which is being put together by a guy called Sean Reck. I have actually been in touch with Sean Reck. He said he would come on and have a chat with me. As of yet, I haven't been able to get my we haven't been able to get together and do something, but hopefully we will do in the not too distant future. And yet, you're absolutely right. Dvorak, yeah, famous. Antonin Dvorak, very famous. And I ended up, or at least my family ended up in the UK because originally they were traveling from Italy, and some made it to America and some made it as far as the UK, and I've been here ever since. Okie dokie. When was the last time that you managed to actually go and visit Brendan? Because of the lock.
It's several months ago when the virus thing, but he did call me on Tuesday though.
Right.
He said on the phone, he said he's doing really good, and he wants to thank all the supporters out there for the cards and letters, and he got tons of Christmas cards.
Yep.
And yes, I says I said, you got some awesome supporters out there. The Dassey Nation as strong as ever. And yeah, we talked about pretty good, you know, we talk about positive things. And I always let him know if, you know, when he gets out, if he ever needs a job, you know, just let me know. My workplace told me plenty of times that they wouldn't mind hiring him, you know.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And yeah, I think from what I've been able to gather from certainly one of my pupils, well, two of my pupils are actually psychiatrists, and they've pointed out that, you know, it would be a case of, you know, needing a certain amount of therapy to, you know, to get over the, if you like, the sheer horror of it, you know. I mean, at the moment he's living that horror, but, you know, when he gets the chance to reflect on it, that's going to be quite hard going. But
Oh yeah,
obviously,
as a matter of fact, is getting out.
so
Is you mean when the freedom does come?
yeah, even just being free, it's you know, he's still going to need sort of psychological help, just because of the horror of being in that situation of you know, to you know, Bigot and Fassbender, you know, they carry a badge that, you know, and a gun, and that's to protect people, the public, and yet they could do what they did to Brendan. You know, it's you know, he'll you know, it's bound to be you know, troubling. But yes, you know,
I have a person at work that was locked up for 6 years for something they got out, and they were kind of telling me the other day that how over the years things change. So when Brendan gets out, you know, everything's going to be so much different. So I was supposed to tell him that, you know, just take it slowly, and how things changed, you know.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, what sort of things does he occupy himself with on like a daily basis?
Well, I know before the COVID thing, I know he used to do cards with people in there, and now he was telling me Tuesday that they're really limited because they don't want him touching much things, you know, for the spread of the. So he's allowed to talk to people, but I don't know. It just didn't sound like he was. If they were geared up to play cards or anything, I don't know. Something about the COVID thing, I don't know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Yeah.
and I mean, have you? Obviously, we saw clips of you at various court appearances by Brendan, both at the original trial. Also, we get to see you at the sort of the first appeals, which of course was all also handled by Fox. And I presume you sort of kept on the sort of what the lawyers have done to try and help Brendan. What are your thoughts on the latest you know, efforts by Northwestern, Steve Drisenlaw and I Ryder to ask for clemency? What are your thoughts on Tony Evers and this petition for clemency?
I don't know. I think Evers is kind of like I don't know, ignoring it. I don't know if you would have done something. I mean, we talked about that too, Brendan and I. He said on the phone that I don't know. This one day he exonerated 13 of them, and he was wondering why he wasn't. He was, you know, I mean, what do you call it? Did I say it right? Exonerated?
Well, yeah, they were
Or
pardoned, weren't they?
yeah,
They
yeah, that's what I was looking. Yeah, pardon me, but I mean, yeah, he says 13, and he says you know, I don't know why they're overlooking him, or is he afraid, or what's the deal is? Maybe he's afraid that the state's going to say something, or what? I don't understand.
Yeah, I think one of the schools of thought is that when it comes to his last year in office, because he's been in, it'll be coming up for 3 years, won't it?
Yeah,
it'll be 3 years, and they reckon that in your last year, that's the time when, you know, if things haven't been sorted out by then, it's the sort of thing he might do. I noticed that when so far these applications for clemency, they've all that we've received back as a reply was the standard letter, and unfortunately you don't qualify for this, blah blah blah, and yet it wasn't Tony Evers that had written the response. It was the sort of people employed to sort of respond to these applications. You get the sense that it's the bureaucrats that are sort of handling this at the moment. Okay. We've still got loads and loads of questions here. One, is it from Gabriel McGrath, Irish? Is it still okay to send letters to Brendan?
Yeah, I guess so. I guess they're not accepting any books or anything like that, or any. But letters and cards and stuff. But I guess they're not taking anything like books or sending them other stuff. I just that's what I heard, I guess.
Yeah. Now, Jerome, it's clearly trying to sound Scottish. I've got a wee question, and yet Jerome speaks French. So that should be, I've got a petite question. And he's asking, have you ever had the chance to visit Steve in prison or to talk to him at all?
No, I haven't. No, he hasn't called. He hasn't called me, and I never went to visit him at all.
No. There's only so many people that you can have on the visiting list.
And what it is I figured it. It's not that I didn't want to. I mean, sure. I mean, we've been friends for a long time.
Yeah.
It's not that I don't want to, but like you're saying, like they only got so many people that they can have on the list. Why put me on if I'm only going to go like a couple times a year? I'd rather have him have somebody that's going to go once a week or whenever the visiting is.
Yeah. And I mean the other problem there would be that you'd have to then explain to Brendan. I'm sorry, Brendan, but I could choose to go who I wanted to visit this weekend, and I went and visited Steve rather than you. I suspect Brendan's going to be a bit miffed at that, as if priority. Yeah,
I'm sure he'd probably say something too. But I mean, you can figure it out. I mean, Brent. I'm not downgrading Steve at all, but he would know. Steve actually would know Brendan would be the first one, of course.
Yeah. William. Now, on this occasion, we do have a genuine Scotsman, William, and he would like you to. May I ask Pete to describe Brendan and to tell us a little bit about him as a child?
Brendan, he was very quiet. He was always into games when they used to come over. All my kids, believe it or not, I had to have 4 TVs set up with different games on. And whenever the games first came out, it's like, I got all these TVs and I had to come up with something to keep them happy. But he was pretty good. He was really quiet. Of course, he got picked on. It was a lot like me when I was growing up. My brothers picked on me because I was quiet, and I'd more or less leave me alone. And they had their issues, and I would say knock it off. But he was quiet and kind of shy, and
Yeah, I must admit one of the things that does seems quite obvious is that within Wisconsin. Believe it or not, on the opening day of hunting season, if all the hunters that went out on opening day, Wisconsin, were formed into an army, they would form the 6th largest army in the world.
Wow.
Wisconsin love to hunt, but I might be wrong about this, but I get the sense that I don't think you enjoy hunting, and I don't think Brendan would.
I tried it once, but I don't know. At the time, a buddy from high school, we went one time, and I forgot if it was deer hunting or something, and never seen anything. A few Tweety birds and a few Tweety birds and a squirrel here and there, but I don't know. I'd rather go fishing on the pier, and because at least there you can move around and you don't have to be quiet. Yeah, hunting wasn't my bag. Sorry about the hunters out there, but to each their own. I'm more like a fisherman, and yeah, because you don't have to be quiet. Well, you kind of do, but I mean, I don't know. Hunting wasn't my bag.
Yeah. No, I mean, to be honest, Pete, here I've had the misfortune to hit 1 or 2 deers, and it's been, I felt really bad about it,
Yeah, me too. This is my second SUV. I got the first one. I clocked the deer, and I had to get rid of it because I got it totaled. And it wasn't really truthfully hunting. It was just an accident. So I wasn't really hunting. It just found me, and then voila,
Yeah. No, I mean, certainly in Scotland, particularly if you go further north, they are becoming a huge problem. With the amount of people that are hitting deer. And as you say, some of them are big. They'll completely wreck them. I mean, I once hit a deer coming back from England, coming over the Carter Bar, just before the Carter Bar. I had a little mini car, and it was wrecked. I mean, it took out it took out the whole of the front, the bumper, the lights, the registration plate, and the grill. It took out all the radiator that was at the front. I don't know if they're the same terms that you use. And also just behind that, on the front of the engine block, you've got the distributor and the coil, and that was completely totaled as well.
Yeah.
I mean, the car was just a mess. It was just a write-off.
Kind of the same thing that happened to me one morning. I went to work. It was just, I don't know, I was about a half a mile away from work. Didn't even have a chance to hit the brake. One just jumped right in front of me. All I did is go, ooh, and there it goes over. And it pushed my whole front end into my engine, but I had enough in my vehicle to get to work yet. But that was about it. And I had to, but scary. I mean, a week after, I was just, my eyes were peeled on the side of the streets. I hope it don't happen again. And then this is a real odd story. I got a good friend with me that works at work, and they had 3 deer come out and hit their vehicle, but they hit it on the side, so they had to have fender and door damage done. But it wasn't the front; it was the side of the vehicle. So, but it was 3 times in 1 year. It's like maybe it was the same deer. I don't know.
Yeah. No, I think I seem to remember reading about this that. It was known that Brendan would faint at the sight of blood.
Oh, I don't know. I know I do, because one time growing up as a kid, I bumped my knee and there was blood, and then there was pus on. And the doctor goes, "Are you okay with this?" And I said, "Yeah, pretty sure." So they took the syringe and sucked it out of me. I was okay with the pus, but when the blood came out, I'm going. Then I woke up. He goes, "What happened?" "Oh, you just fainted." I said, "I didn't know." So, yeah, I'm not really okay. I mean, a little bit, but I mean, when you get syringes, no, I don't like needles anyway. So.
Yeah. Do you know that we have been? If you've got the live and it tells you how long we've been going nearly 50 minutes. Would you imagine that 50 minutes we've talked here?
It seems like you just seems like you just turned it on.
I know.
I really enjoy being on your show, and I feel comfortable.
Well,
I don't know if I can ask you everything, but I mean.
Oh yeah. I mean, the thing I've always said is that I do appreciate, and we both appreciate that there are certain things that you have to be very careful about talking about, commenting on, because otherwise all the problems with the fact that Steve and Brendan were not given the presumption of innocence, that wasn't respected with them, then you've got to be so careful with various people involved in the case. I must admit, one of my real bugbears is, for example, that is Mike Holbach, the video analyst of the Green Bay Packers, because what he said about the leaving process could last days, and for him to say, in the sentences, in the sentencing hearing, that Brendan, you should have taken the plea deal. Mike, if you really think that Brendan did all the stuff that you did, you wouldn't want him taking a plea deal. In fact, when I did research on what they say to people, families who have lost through murder, they try and explain that the plea deal is something you might have to accept, even though you clearly don't want somebody to be let off lighter. So yeah, I do have a huge a dislike of Mike Holbach and what he says, and also a huge dislike of the way the journalists have handled everything. But a few words of encouragement about what we're doing, because as I say, this is our 5th live chat, and as I say, the Rogers, the Charlie Barons, the Packers, and Mike, they want us to keep going because, as I say, the Packers have won every game since we started doing our lives. And here's some nice words of encouragement from Sharon up there in Glasgow. She's described us as a couple of old farts. Thank you, Sharon.
Yeah, I'm not young anymore when you showed me that. Yeah, I'm not young anymore when you showed me that picture of me sitting behind Ken Kratz. Did you notice that I had color in my hair and I had more hair?
Yes. Dear. Okay. Listen, Pete. I'm going to let you go, and it's been nice. I always look forward to getting a message from you. When we say cheerio, well, I know what to do. When we say cheerio, if at some point in the next couple of days you could send me your home address, and I will send a package over to you. It'll probably take a couple of weeks, I would imagine. It usually takes about that, a couple of weeks to get to. But yes, that would be great. So anyway, and we've got a few more people here in the chat. Hi, Shaken, and somebody that goes by no brain, no name. Yeah, and some even more encouraging words from Susan. A couple of good-looking farts.
All right, thank you very much.
We're gonna have to start a fan club.
Yeah, thank you. I really appreciate it.
Right, let's see. Where are we? Is it back up here? Where is it? There we go. Pete, if you would just like to say cheerio to our guests and thank them for tuning in, and we'll catch them soon.
I'm supposed to say cheerio?
Yeah. You say cheerio.
Okay, cheerio, everybody.
And we'll see you again soon.
Yeah, let me know when you want to do another one.
Same time next week. Next week. That's what the Rogers wants. He wants us to keep doing it every week. Same time.
Even though the Packers aren't playing, even though the Packers aren't on this weekend, but.
Oh no! Exactly. I mean, they're that's the thing. Because we're going live, they're definitely not going to lose this weekend.
Yeah, yeah.
You know,
But
you know,
yeah, we'll keep her going.
Keep her moving.
Yeah, keep her moving.
Keep her moving. Okay. Cheers, everybody.
Okay,
Bye for now.
cheerio. Yeah.